All right. Here we are, first day of the spring 2018 semester. The sun is slowly coming up here at almost 8 a.m. Eastern time, arriving on campus. Excited for this semester. Probably more so than any other semester, simply because I have my sea legs, I think. This is my fourth semester as a full-time instructor. Teaching classes that I've taught before, and while I'm doing some heavy reworking here, I am excited because I do have, I think, a stable foundation, not only of the content that we're going to cover, and even though content coverage is a bad word and sometimes bad phrase in some vocabularies, some circles, mine. I am working with a group of students. I know most of these students because they have been in my previous classes. So I think that's a huge thing because we've developed a social connection here, and learning is a social thing. So I'm really excited. I've got web page development this morning, which we're going to start out talking about how the web works. It's interesting because I'm going to take the approach, sometimes I do a lot of digging and looking, and there's a whole bunch of top-down ISPs and all these acronyms and stuff. And I'm like, man, we're not even going to talk about that today. All I want to talk about is, what does the web do? That's it. And from there, I think when we talk about what it does, how it impacts our lives, I think there we can have a meaningful conversation about what actually is happening underneath the hood and why we even care about some of the things that are going on in the ones and zeros. Then we've got photography. Photography is split between 2 days now, which is nice because now we've got one day, which is a short 50 minutes, and then a full lab period. So today we're just going to introduce the class. I'm going to go over some very basic stuff. Probably, first day, some people don't have their cameras, so I'll go over what kind of cameras people should have. And we'll talk just the fundamental basics of what makes a good photograph, right? We're going to start with the essential question today. What makes a good photograph? And I think having that conversation then, again, it's all about, learning the means and not the end. So if we can talk about what makes a great photograph, look at a good photograph, kind of inspire ourselves to make good photographs, then the stuff that, we want to learn these things because we have a destination. And then finally tonight we have VCT 266, which is the multimedia course, which is going to be interesting because, long story short, it's an extension of web page development, although the people who previously had web page development did not always come out of it with what they needed. So I have a pre-assessment that on HTML and CSS that I'm actually going to give my web page development people first thing today as a pre-assessment that I can then give them at the end of the course to do an assessment, to do a real analysis of whether actually any learning happened. And then in 266, my evening class tonight, we're going to take that, and then I can kind of use that as a jumping off point to see how much of HTML and CSS do we need to go back and cover before we start moving into JavaScript, jQuery, probably a little bit of PHP, and some other things that they will run into in the world of web site and web application development. So excited, rock and roll. Today is a good day, first day. Everybody's got 100%. Everybody's got an A. So let's rock and roll. Nanu.